Hi, and welcome back to this free-for-all Friday edition of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Just want to hitchhike on that little spot that you heard about our need for Share-a-thon phone volunteers coming up October 22 to 24. You can pick the shift you want. You can work as many or as few days, as many shifts, as few shifts as you want. Love to have you here in Tupelo helping to answer the phones. We got so many people that want to make a donation to contribute to keep AFR Talk on the air, knowing the importance of this voice right now at this time in our history. And so we need volunteers here to answer those phones. It's all computerized. It's a pretty slick deal to be able to take these donations and process them. You get an opportunity to talk to some of the people that listen to the network. Opportunity for us as people who work for AFR Talk, an opportunity for us to get to know you as volunteers. That's one of the great privileges of it. So give us a call at 800-326-4543, extension 204. 800-326-4543, extension 204, or you can go to afr.net, and sign up. Well, let's go back to Mario, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Mario, we were talking about the impact on federal workers if there is a government shutdown, quote, end quote, and the point we've made, government really doesn't shut down. I've got an AP story somewhere in the stack that's kind of the dirty little secret that the government doesn't shut down in a shutdown. And they went back to 1995, 1996 and talked about the relatively small number of federal workers who actually were laid off, and now the fact that they were all made whole when the quote shutdown, end quote, was over. So, but Mario, you were saying it could be different this time. Now tell me why you think it might be different this time.
Well, excuse me. As I was started to tell before the break, I just left a briefing that was provided to all of the employees where I'm at.
Now, do you work for the federal government?
Yes, I'm retired military, and I'm a civilian federal employee.
All right, go ahead.
In the briefing, and the conditions, the situation is this: we're going to possibly be furloughed on Tuesday. Tuesday morning, as we report for work, we will be told in writing that you are being furloughed and we are dismissed. Uh-huh. However, if an agreement is reached before that, then nothing like that will happen. We just come to work and be at work.
Right.
If there's no agreement, if there's no continuing resolution for funding the next year's operations, then we will be told you are going home unless you are in a critical position, which is required for defense of the land. Or protection of life, health, and prevention of injury. And the word is, as we return, whenever we return, it could be a day, it could be a week. Of course, we don't know. Then we will return, not expecting to be paid for those days that we were sent away. In other words, there is no allocation, no provision made that you are furloughed. When you come back, we will reimburse you. There will not be such thing.
Well, now that's not now, Mario, that's not a promise that they can make, because the reinstatement of those wages hasn't been acted on by Congress. So there's theoretically a possibility that you would not be made whole. But I got to tell you, Mario, there is not a politician on Capitol Hill that's not going to vote to give you your missing days. That is not going to happen. That's going to be 100-0 vote to make you guys whole for the days you missed. I'm not a prophet or the son of a prophet, and I'm not going to be held personally financially liable if I turn out to be wrong. But there is no way, Mario, you're not going to get back pay. That's absolutely not going to happen. Any Republican voted for that, they would just get absolutely crucified for their lack of compassion for hardworking federal. It is not going to happen.
Okay, now this is remembering that the military personnel are not dismissed. They stay on duty. They will work initially without pay, but they will be paid because, for those days. But the civilian personnel don't fall in the same category. And by the way, the term shutdown, government shutdown, is just it's a make-believe term. The government doesn't shut down 100%. You're absolutely right. There's always certain functions that continue, that must continue.
Yeah. And the essential functions are the ones that continue, and military is part of that. Maintaining our national defense is part of that. And my understanding is there are some members of the military that may be furloughed. The parts of the military that are essential to maintain our national security right now every day. I mean, they have to be paid, and they will under the Anti-Deficiency Act. Well, listen, Mario, I appreciate the call, and let's see what happens. If there is a government shutdown, I am willing to bet 100%, Mario, that you will be made whole. If you are not, you can call me back and complain, and we will take your call and put you at the front of the queue to let everybody know that I was dead flat wrong. So
well, let's hope that they do it, since they did it for the IRS lady who got sent home with the paid vacation.
Yeah, she got. I mean, you think of her, Mario. I mean, she got laid off in May. And here it is September, so she goes 4 months, doesn't have to show up for work, and she not only gets her back pay, well, she got paid the whole time. I mean,
Yes,
she was paid the whole time she was on furlough. Same with the diplomats in the State Department in Libya, the 4 guys that were, quote, disciplined, end quote. That was paid vacation for them, and they've all been brought back. They're now back on active duty, shuffled around a little bit, but they got 4 months of paid vacation. Lois Lerner got 4 months of paid vacation, and she quit. She quit before they could fire her, so now she's going to collect $50,000 a year in her federal pension. This for harassing and persecuting the Tea Party and doing her dead level best to help Barack Obama get reelected by oppressing the Tea Party. She's getting rewarded for that with a 4-month paid vacation and a $50,000 a year pension.
Yes.
All right. Okay, Mario, listen, I appreciate the call. Thank you for that, and maybe we'll have a chance to talk again. We'll see what happens next week. Here's that story I was telling you about from the 2011 archives of the Associated Press. This is the AP, Associated Propaganda. This is the press bureau for the Obama administration. This is their press office and the Associated Press leaders of the pack. I'm just reading some excerpts. Social Security checks will go out. Troops would remain at their posts. Furloughed federal workers probably would get paid, though not till later. And virtually every essential government agency like the FBI, the Border Patrol, and the Coast Guard would remain open. And the headline of the piece is, psst, like they're whispering to you, no shutdown during a government shutdown. This is the Associated Press saying this. That's the little-known truth about a government shutdown. The government doesn't shut down. Fewer than half of the 2.1 million federal workers subject to a shutdown would be forced off the job if the Obama administration followed the path taken by Presidents Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, and Bill Clinton. So we're talking fewer than 1 in 4 federal workers staying at home if you add in the Postal Service and the uniformed military personnel. 1 in 4 federal workers are going to wind up staying home. From a practical perspective, shutdowns usually aren't that big a deal. They happened every year when Jimmy Carter was president, averaging 11 days each. Did you know about that? Every year under Carter, there was a government shutdown. Why didn't you hear about it? Because it is not that big a deal. During President Reagan's 2 terms, there were 6 shutdowns. Did you know that? I didn't even know that until I read this article in the Associated Press, typically lasting just 1 or 2 days apiece. Deals got cut. Everybody moved on. Let's grab a quick soundbite. I want to grab the Dan Pfeiffer soundbite, clip 4, if we can, Rob. This is Obama advisor Dan Pfeiffer, and look, they've said we're not going to negotiate. We're not going to talk. We've made up our minds. Don't be reasonable. Do it our way. We're not interested in conversation. We're not interested in talking about it. And here's the analogy that Dan Pfeiffer used. Let's listen.
You saw today a new Bloomberg News poll indicating that the American people support, by 2-to-1 margin, its right to require spending cuts when negotiating the debt ceiling. I understand that Keystone and other provisions that the Republicans are talking about attaching to the debt ceiling are not related, but why not cut some spending?
The Republicans, we are for cutting spending. We're for reforming our tax code. We're for reforming our entitlements. What we're not for is negotiating with people who have a bomb strapped to their chest. We're not going to do that. So if they want to have a discussion about how we reduce our deficits, how we help the middle class, how we give them a better bargain, lift the debt ceiling, take the full faith and credit of the United States off the table, and let's have a discussion. I don't think that's not a particularly complicated thing. What they're doing is unprecedented. Imagine a scenario years from now, we agree to their demands now. A year from now, that maybe they want to privatize Medicare. Maybe 4 years from now, there's a Democratic Congress and a Republican president, and the Democrats come forward and say, if you don't raise taxes to levels that you don't want, then we're going to cause the economy to blow up. We cannot live in a world where one half of one branch of government can extract their demands that have been rejected by voters and can't pass under normal circumstances, or they're going to blow up the economy.
But Senator Obama voted against raising the debt ceiling.
He did, but and he's discussed that vote. But what he did not do was say, give me X, give me 100% on what I want, or we're going to default. That changed in 2011 with the House Republicans.
Do you acknowledge that President Obama bears any of the responsibility for this crisis in Washington right now, or do you really view it that the House Republicans are entirely responsible?
I believe the House Republicans are entirely responsible.
100%?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so that's Dan Pfeiffer saying we're not going to negotiate with a guy who's got a bomb strapped to his chest. That's the analogy he uses for the House Republicans, Ted Cruz's. Well, I would say this in response, Dan Pfeiffer, you don't negotiate with the guy that built the bomb. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Kenan in Marshall, Texas. Kenan, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Oh, yes, a few things. I just wanted to report in about my senator, or one of them, Cornyn, the other one's a Democrat, but Cornyn was Republican. They gave me this big nonsense lie that he voted for closure because he wanted either a plain up or down vote. And I told him, I said, look, that don't fly. That just sounds wonderful. But I said, take the case to where if they've got control up there and they're voting to do without the Constitution and he can't do nothing about it, he wants an up or down vote. What's he going to do? I said, I am deeply, deeply disappointed in this man. I said, I've always supported him in the past and voted for him, but he made an enemy. And I will campaign against him in the primary that's coming up and do everything I can do to hand him his pink slip. He should have stood with what is right. And I was just very upset with him, but tried to be nice.
Yeah. Well, I think we always want to be civil. We want to be firm. We want to be direct. If there's some emotion driving what we say, I think it's appropriate for that emotion to kind of feed into the conversation. We shouldn't try to hide that, but we don't want to resort to name calling. We don't want to resort to profanity or vulgarity. We don't want to be mean, but we do want to be direct, and we want to be truthful, and we want to be forthright. And Kenan was doing that with Senator Cornyn's office. Look, because of the way he voted, I'm going to work against him in the next election. There's nothing inappropriate about doing that. They work for us. Remember, that's what Ted Cruz said. Look, they are our employers. We work for them. They don't work for us. They're not the servants. We are the servants. They're the boss. They're the ones we need to listen to. Senator Cornyn not willing to do it, and I think he's going to pay a price. Focal Point in the AFR Talk, back in 2.